had we had time for them to work on homework, which we do most days. They are welcome to converse with their neighbor and get help that way. A lot of times their neighbor got it in a way that I didn't explain it. Something clicked for this other student, and they can explain what they understood and help this student with it.
This is a fair die. The probability of getting a 1 is the same as the probability of getting a 2, and so forth. I want you to identify all of the outcomes in a probability experiment, determine the sample space, and define the event, roll an even number. So, you got your answers? You need to talk it over with your neighbor. Talk it over, go. Sarah, identify the outcome.
We said that would just be a list of 1 through 6.
Okay.
We also have posted office hours. I've got about 10 hours a week where I am available to them, and they know I will be in the room. We call it charger time, but they know I will be here, and they take advantage of it. On any given day, I'll have about 10 students in the room seeking help, and that works out really, really well. If I've only got 2, then they don't get forced to struggle because I'm too accessible. If there are 10 of them in here and I'm just circulating the room, answering questions as I can, an interesting percentage of the time, they will figure it out before I get to them because they've had a few minutes to struggle and fight with it themselves, and it works out really, really nicely. Yeah, the idea of talking to someone else, a lot of times simply verbalizing the question will make a big step in solving it for them. And I always chuckle when they say, I didn't get this and this, and oh, okay, bye. And they have figured it out simply by the process of verbalization.
All right, now, if instead my probability experiment is rolling 2 dice and adding up what shows, rolling 2 dice and adding up what shows in, what's my sample space?
You would have a list of 1 through 12.
You want to recant any of that, Ian?
No, I don't know.
Anybody want to make a change?
Oh, wait a minute.
Don't you take off the 1 because you have 2 dice?
Okay, since I'm rolling 2 dice and they don't happen to have zeros, my sample space would be 2 to 12.
Yeah.
So just be very, very careful as you try and pick your sample space. Our first impression may need a little adjustment. Yeah. What? Well, but if I just put a 2 in front of that, how would I ever get a 5? Okay, but our probability experiment in this case was to roll them and add what was showing. So in addition to getting 2 2s, I can get a 2 and a 3, which would give me the 5. It was because of our experiment which was adding. Okay?
I attended an AP conference a year and a half ago, And I picked up the quote at that AP conference. And I fell in love with it as well. I think it truly describes what happens in a mathematics classroom. And I put it up because the students can relate to the fact that you go to the gym planning on sweating.
Yeah.
If you break a sweat, you don't quit and go home. And you come to a mathematics classroom not expecting to get everything right. You'll notice my students are very accustomed to me making errors. If you look at that video, they corrected me how many times in a 1-hour lecture?
Any one of those outcomes is going to satisfy that event. That make sense? Yes.
When you did C, why didn't you just write P even 1/2 like you did before?
The what?
When you did the probability
Probability
before,
even.
you just wrote P even 1/2. Why did you like write it all out this time?
Did this say find the probability? This said define the event. So I'm defining what that event is to roll a 2, roll a 4, or roll a 6.
Okay.
So if I ask for the probability of an even number, then I would have said 1/2. Keep going.
And then on A and B, it's like, what's the difference between the outcomes and the sample space? Is it just how you write it?
Yeah. Sample space is a set of outcomes. And this is a very picky thing on notation. Sets wind up in those curly brackets that you hate to draw and that you'll get better at as time goes by.
Okay.
Okay? There are all my 5s. So what was my probability? 4 out of 36, which is 1/9.
So you would still count it as 4 different ways, even though one's like 4 and 1 and the other one's 1 and 4, which is the same exact thing?
We are going to do that. Sort of picture it as if the 2 dice were different colors. That's why I put them up in red and green. This 4-1, even though it looks an awful lot like that one, is different than this one, as far as our outcomes go. Okay?
They come to understand that failure, learning, and success often come in that order, and in between there is struggle in the mathematics classroom. The day I put that up, I was teaching my AP calculus class, and out of one corner of the room comes the comment, so struggle is brain sweat. I says, yeah, struggle is brain sweat. Now to the other corner of the room, I hear, why does it keep leaking out my eyes? And that's what keeps me in teaching, is these wonderful perspectives that students have on life. And but the fact that this is hard, I get that all the time. Every teacher gets that. And part of my college classroom is, yeah, we do hard things in this room. That's why we're here. Okay, you may have not noticed, but in my left hand I had a deck of cards. And I was going through that stack of cards, determining who I would call on next.
Cool.
So,
Is Rule 1 satisfied, Abby? Sorry about that.
No.
Rule 1 is every one of these probabilities between 0 and 1. Yes. If I am tossing a coin, what's my sample space, Jackson? Heads and tails.
so the kids know that their card can come up at any point in time. So
Wow, I didn't see that at all.
it keeps them focused because their name may be the next card in the deck. I warn them about that
Sure.
as we begin. And I also warn them that you don't have to give the right answer. You can request help from me, you can get help from a friend, and that's perfectly fine. I also tell them that if your card's up and you don't know what to do, the rest of the class is going to help you because they're glad it was your card up and not theirs, and they're going to make sure you succeed.